By Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. So Luke Hochevar pitching, the Royals on defense. DeJesus, Meyer, Bloomquist in right. Guillen's out of the lineup. Tian, Pena, Callaspo, Butler, and Miguel Olivo, who got yesterday off with Zach Greinke on the mound, is back there for Luke Hochevar tonight. So the Royals 3-3 through Houston and Pittsburgh. Interleague play is over. The Royals finished at 8-10. Minnesota had a great year against the National League. They were 12-6. Denard Span takes high and away, ball one. Span recently coming off the disabled list. He had an inner ear problem, which was causing him some dizziness. 2 balls, no strikes. Twins first round pick in 2002. Oh. 3-0. A couple of seasons ago, the Twins sent Johan Santana to the Mets, and they picked up Carlos Gomez, figuring he'd be in center field for many years to come. But Gomez really hasn't taken off yet as a Twin, and now he's on the bench hitting .228. And Denard Span, who appeared to be the odd man out, got a lot of playing time last year in right field when Kadire was hurt, and now he's back to his natural position.
Well, center field is always a key position, and when Gomez, the way he played it last year, you had every reason to think that he was going to be the top center fielder for a long time, and all it takes is to struggle with that bat, don't make the adjustments to the league, and now he's finding himself not getting a lot of playing time. Talked to Bert Blyleven, and Blyleven was telling me that when he was out, it really made a huge difference. Denard Span was out. It made a huge difference at the top of that order.
Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Twins have some great numbers on offense this year, and we mentioned all the home runs hit by the middle of the order. One thing they haven't gotten consistently is the table setters on in front of Mauer, Morneau, Kubel, and Kadire.
And that's been the same here with the Royals also, just not having that 1-2 guy to get on and have your 3, 4, 5 guys hit with men on base. And that's so crucial to whether or not your big guys drive in the runs they're able to drive in.
So Hochevar opens the game with a walk. And up comes Brendan Harris. Hot today in Kansas City, but the wind out of the northwest, so dry, not a muggy day. 89 degrees right now. 7:10 first pitch. Brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI.
Well, this is where Luke Ryan is going to have to really concentrate. He's got a speed guy on first, but he's also got to concentrate on making a good pitch.
Down to second base, and they get the force on Span. You can hear Miguel Olivo in the background yelling 2, 2, 2. So the Royals get the lead runner. Now Harris at first with 1 out.
Now Luke does a great job coming down, Ryan, to make a great play on this bunt. The only thing you worry about being a sinker baller, whether or not he's going to be able to keep that ball up and give Tony Pena a chance to make the turn. But Tony did a good job just making sure he got 1 out and then getting out of the way.
And that can be an issue. They will throw a sinker down to the bases. You know all about that.
Well, they will, and I never would put a pickoff play on with a sinker ball pitcher. I would go to the mound and say, look, I'm on a break, but all I want you to do is just spin real fast and hold the ball. Don't throw it, because he has nothing tougher to do than to be sprinting to the base and have the ball turn over on you and try to make that catch and tag. It's pretty tough to do.
So now Joe Mauer hitting .394, which would lead the American League, but he still doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify after missing the first month of the season with lower back soreness. 1 ball, 1 strike, says Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire. Last year's batting champ. He also won the batting title in '06. And before 2006, no catcher ever in the American League had won a batting title, and now he's won 2 of the last 3. And if he gets the plate appearances, he might run away with a 3rd one.
Well, that's what's so amazing about him, Ryan, is just he's a catcher. I mean, he's squatting and, and he plays a lot of games, and not like he goes to first base for a few games or what. He's always catching, and he must have tremendous strength in his legs to be able to catch every day and then come out and because you need your legs to hit with and be able to hit like he's hitting.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And they've been careful with him at times. Back injury is not ideal for a catcher. May the 1st coming back from the DL against the Royals, facing Sidney Ponson in his first swing. Ended up in the seats in left field. Welcome back.
You know, I was talking to Bert Blyleven again. He's the announcer for the Twins, and he was saying that 2 of his home runs have gone to right field, 2 to center field, but everything else has been left center field.
Meyer to the wall. So he just missed his 15th home run of the year. Harris back to first, 2 down.
Was a 2-seamer out over the plate, and he you know, that's the pitch that he hit off of Sidney Ponson, the one that didn't turn over but just sort of slid across the plate. And then one thing I was trying to make, the example I was trying to make there, Ryan, was that he's not trying to pull the ball. He's just hitting the ball where it's pitched, and he's got the power to hit it out to all parts of the ballpark.
That brings up Justin Morneau. Good breaking ball for strike 1. Mauer would be a good guy for some of the Royals to watch in regard to what Kevin Seitzer is trying to preach.
Well, that's pretty much what he's saying. I just want the ball. I don't want to take your power away. I just want you to take a good swing, focus in the center of the field, and try to use the alleys. And if you do pull the ball, it's probably going to be a ball you can keep fair. And what they try to do mainly is just concentrate fastball, middle alleys, and then pull the changeups and pull the curveballs.
Morneau has hit 17 home runs. He's driven in 61. That's the 3rd most in the American League.
No, raw hitters in spring training did an outstanding job of that. I mean, everybody every day was coming out. They scored a lot of runs, hit a lot of home runs. Everybody was having a lot of success, and even getting off to the 18-11 start. That was pretty awesome for the offense too. But then all of a sudden they went cold together, and they haven't been able to get back in sync since then.
Two and two. Hochevar coming off a very good start on Wednesday at Houston. Didn't get a decision. The Royals won that game in 11 innings, but allowed just 2 runs in 7 innings, only 3 hits in 7 innings. Began the game with 4 perfect innings, faced the minimum through 5. Ended up allowing a pinch hit home run to Darren Erstad in the 6th inning, but otherwise a very solid outing. And you and I remember we're talking a lot about the bite on his curveball that night.
Well, I mean, it goes down. I mean, it's a great pitch for him, and he throws it two speeds. You know, one is it just over the top and down, and one he can really tighten it up and it looks almost like a slider, but still a curveball.
There's a breaking ball that Morneau fouls over our heads and above the recoiling Frank White.
I was going to give Andy a little room to catch that one.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Yeah, I was just sliding over. Didn't want to interfere with him. Just let him do what he needed to do.
Got him to chase a bad one. So Hochevar gives up a leadoff walk, but no runs in the first. 242 coming in tonight. Here's Trey Hillman's lineup presented by M&I Bank. Jose Guillen is not in there. Some tightness on his left side, so Mike Jacobs will bat fourth. Mark Tien, who had a good road trip through Houston and Pittsburgh, will hit fifth. Mitch Meyer will be in center field. Tony Pena Jr. is at shortstop. All facing right-hander Nick Blackburn. Here's the Kia scouting report.
The report on Blackburn, Ryan, is he's at back-to-back complete games, and 1 win, 1 loss, but complete games means he's throwing strikes and he's putting the ball in play. 7 or more innings pitched in 8 of his last 9 starts. Lefties are, by the way, hitting .299, and right is .221. So look for Nick Blackburn to throw a lot of strikes and induce a lot of ground balls.
5 lefties in the lineup against Blackburn, including David DeJesus, who did not have overall a good road trip, but he finished strong with a home run yesterday afternoon, 2 RBIs. Comes in tonight hitting at .239.
Well, he really turned on that home run too. That ball really jumped off his bat.
Some guys will try and yank the ball to right field, or you can see the hips flying open, the shoulders flying open. I thought his swing yesterday was a perfect example of just letting the hands do the work.
He's really got a nice swing, and if he hits his pitch in his zone, you can really see it. And only when he chases out of his zone up, especially the fastball up, that's when it gets him in trouble. But if he keeps it middle and down, he really has quick hands. He can get to that ball, and he really stays over that ball real well.
Both Hochevar and Blackburn missing with their first 3 pitches tonight. There's a late movement from Blackburn. Royals took 2 out of 3 from the Twins in early May. That's the only series so far between these 2 teams. And DeJesus had 4 RBIs in that series. And now Blackburn, just like Hochevar, coming back from 3-0, and it's a full count.
So that's the pitch that gets him in trouble right there. 3-1 count. That's when he's got to center his pitch, which is usually down middle, and he chases that borderline fastball. He fouls that ball off a lot, and that's where he gets in trouble.
Hit hard to center, but it stays up, and Denard Span out into the sunlight. And that's sometimes the way it goes when you're hitting .239. Even when you hit it right on the nose, you hit it right at someone. Well, typical Twins, very good on defense. Young, Span, Kadire in the outfield. Busher added to the lineup late. Joe Creedy with a sore back. Harris, Punto, Morneau, and Joe Mauer back of the plate. In addition to winning a batting title last year, Joe Mauer also won his first Gold Glove. Willie Battage is .222 on the trip. 2-hopper to Busher. And Blackburn has his first ground ball out. The series in Minnesota was at the beginning of the Royals' hottest point of the season. They went into Minnesota, lost game 1 in a typical Royals-Twins game, back and forth, back and forth. Minnesota scoring the last runs to win it, but then the Royals in a similar game the next night won in extra innings. And then Scott Baker, remember, had 6 perfect innings. The Royals greeted him in the 7th with 5 runs. And the Royals took that series. They came home, won 4 in a row, and that was the 6-game winning streak that put the Royals at their high point, 18-11. Oh, 0-2 to Billy. Home run, 3 RBIs on the trip.
Yeah, that was also the series, Ryan, where we pointed out that we're always having trouble getting runners from second and third with no outs, advancing runners, or getting them in from third with less than 2 outs. And they just came in with some big hits with 2 outs in that series.
So Billy down to the count, 0-2, singles to center. 1 on, 2 out in the bottom of the first.
Right, this is why Billy's going to always hit. This is a slider, stay in the middle of the plate. You know, most hitters would try to pull this pitch, but he really gets his hands inside the ball well. He really stays focused up the middle, and he gets a lot of hits. And that's why he's able to get hits, because he does use line to line on the field.
You know, not only does he do a good job of keeping his eye on the ball, but those eyes get bigger as the ball comes to the plate. So Mike Jacobs batting fourth. 0-1 from Blackburn. Jake 2 out of 10, no RBIs. The Royals did not get an RBI from Mike Jacobs or Jose Guillen on the trip. One ball, one strike. Back to the American League game, so Mike Jacobs back to the DH spot. Really hurts the American League teams when you take that one bat out of the lineup who is used to playing every day. Span running along the boundary of the shade and the sunlight, and the Royals are scoreless in the first. Jason Kubel, Michael Kadire, and Brian Busher in the second inning against Luke Hochevar. Here's the guy the Twins are really excited about. You know about Maurer, you know about Morneau, you probably know about Kadire, but this has been one of the guys that's kind of off the radar, if you will, as far as headline players for the Twins, but he is really coming on this year. Had a career year last year. 6th in the league in hitting with that .317 mark and 13 home runs. Right about where he was last year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fireworks for the 4th of July this year will be on July the 3rd. Royals and White Sox at 7:10. A special Independence Weekend Fireworks Friday from Hy-Vee and Pepsi. And it's also an Independence Honda Buck Night as well. So we hope to see you here on Friday, July the 3rd. The 4th of July game this year is a 12:10 game.
Ryan, you mentioned Jason Kubel and where he's about where he was last year at this time, and that's really what hitters want to be. They want to be able to be consistent. And so when they went out and put up good numbers, say last year, then they want to come back this year and put up those same numbers. They at least want to be in the ballpark. And you look at the raw hitters, and you can say, well, if everybody in that lineup was hitting their average, then it would be a different story in wins and losses and in the division itself.
Second straight inning that Hochevar walks the leadoff man. Well, we're back home after Joe Goldberg went on vacation during the weekend series against the Pirates. Checking out PNC Park. Where are you tonight?
down here. This is the fountain pump room, and all the fountains are controlled from here. 18 pumps down here. To give you an idea, right above me, that's the upper fountains right above me. And then down here you see 18 pumps that handle circulation, spraying the water. This wall right here is where the fountains cascade down to. You always know how beautiful those fountains are, but this is where it is actually all controlled. Let's go all the way back upstairs to you guys.
You ever been in there?
Never. I've looked through the door when I come early and used to park out behind the scoreboard. I'd look in there. I was always afraid to go in there. There's too much going on in there.
First time the Twins have been to New Kauffman Stadium this year, so they've been taking in the sights and impressed with what the outfield looks like now. (2-0) on Michael Kadire. Had a good series against the Royals in May. 5 hits, 5 runs scored, 3 RBIs. Hit hard. Tien off his glove, still goes down to second. A force there, but Iaspo's throw is late. That might be another one of those situations, Frank, where Alberto might just want to hang on to it.
Yeah, once Mark Tien bobbled the ball there, I wouldn't say bobbled it, but knocked it down. And that's when you got to really be sure you can get the run at first base. You always got to manage the game. Mark did a good job staying with it. Made a nice throw to Castro, hit him chest high. But you're better off to just, if you can't avoid that runner and get a strong throw to first, you probably you better just hold the ball. That ball could easily gotten by right there.
And then you have a runner at second base, 1 out. So 1-on-1 out for Brian Busher. Joe Creedy was in the starting lineup, and he's had some recent back issues, back surgery, and a little tightness tonight, so the Twins wanted to be careful with him. So he was scratched late. Busher in there.
All right, the only way that Alberto Castro could possibly try to make this play is if you watch him right here, he stays right at the bag and really doesn't get a good waist shift. So I see how he opens his hips up. If he'd have come on the other side of the bag and make that throw a little shorter and clear the runner, he could have had a chance to turn that double play right there. A lot of guys get to that bag and they won't keep the hips closed. They want to step back and they open up, and all the force goes to your shoulder at that point, so you lose arm strength when you try to throw the ball to first base.
And you're some sort of an expert on that?
Well, I used to be. I used to practice what I preach.
Dropped by Olivo, but it's a strike, 2-1. Now, Royals fans will not remember that you were a shortstop and then a utility player before moving to second base. How long did it take you to get comfortable with runners bearing down on your backside? You can't even see them coming.
It took me a whole year. It took me the whole year of '76. I played a lot on turf, and Cookie played a lot on grass. And the big thing was they didn't have sliding rules, so you always wanted to peek and see what a runner was. So I think I made like 23 errors in '76, and most of them were getting to the bag, turning my head, dropping the ball. And then I went to winter ball and worked that out, and then I came back in '77 and made 7 errors and won my first Gold Glove.
That was something that came up quite a bit during the offseason when Mark Tien was moving over to second base. The things that he had at third and even at shortstop when he was in college that you just don't experience when you move over to second. It's such a unique position.
Well, you're playing with your back to first base most of the time, and you really don't see the runner until you're actually in the act of throwing, so you got to have a feel for how hard the ball's hit and whether or not you should try to get to or not. But if you come on the other side of the bag to make that throw shorter, now you got a chance to turn that real tough double play late in the game.
Third walk given up by Luke. Saturday afternoons were made for baseball. This week, Fox brings you the National Game of the Week. It's Curtis Granderson and the Tigers against the Minnesota Twins. You might see the Dodgers and the Padres. It all begins at 3 p.m. Central on Fox. So 2 walks, 2 on 1 out for Delmon Young. And again, Olivo out to the mound. So Luke has walked 3. He still hasn't given up a hit yet. This Minnesota Twins team, 5th in the league in hitting, 5th in on base percentage. They will make you throw them strikes. And now Bob McClure is going to join the conversation.
Well, he's on the graphic where opposing hitters are hitting 400 against Luke with men on base, and I tell you, a lot of it is the difference between hitting and giving free passes. You don't give good teams free passes because they really make you pay for it. So he's got to really buckle down and really get back in the strike zone and try to get him a ground ball and get a double play and get out of this inning.
And Luke would even admit that, especially early in the game, he gets really fired up. He's amped up, excited to get out there, wants to do well, works hard. But sometimes that can work against him, and this looks like one of those spots where Miguel Olivo and Bob McClure said maybe there's not a whole lot we can help him out with as far as mechanics, but just give him a chance to catch his breath.
Well, he's got to. This is where your composure comes in. This is where when your mound presence comes in. Where that old saying, "Never let him see you sweat," so to speak. And he just got to really just relax inside. He knows what he wants to do, and just go out and make it happen. You know, just don't hope it's going to happen. But actually make it happen.
Goes with the breaking ball, 1-1 on Delmon Young. Royals pitched him outstanding last year. He had 164 against the Royals. Another breaking ball, another strike. Luke with just 1 walk in the game on Wednesday at Houston. That was over 7 innings. And only 3 hits. We allowed 4 base runners over 7 innings.
So with so many interleague games back to back, Mike Jacobs sort of suffered for the Royals in that area, and Delmon Young was the guy with the Twins.
That breaking ball hung, but De Jesus back to make the play. After missing with ball 1, 3 straight breaking balls and 2 outs.
Well, after the visit from Bob McClure, he really settled down. There's a little curveball right there, right down the middle of the plate, and then he comes back. He wants one on the outer half. That ball had good depth to it right there. Broke late for a strike. And then he comes back. That one backed up. He really didn't like that pitch where it was, but he was able to get it far enough in there, and he didn't really get the head out on that one. Got jammed a little bit. That's that curveball. When you throw so many breaking balls, sooner or later one's going to slip out and back up out over the plate, and you just hope you can get inside before the hitter gets to the pitch.
And now Nick Punto, not the pitcher. Punto has missed 5 games before tonight. He had bruised some ribs, sliding head first into first base. Shallow left center, but Meyer is there, and that's the inning. So Luke gets around the 2 walks in the 2nd inning. Zach winning his 10th game yesterday. He will not pitch in this Minnesota series, but he is the subject of tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. What do you think has a better chance of happening this year? Zach winning 25 games, Joe Mauer hitting 400, or Albert Pujols winning the Triple Crown? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, a space, your answer, and standard text rates apply. Mark Tien, Alberto Callaspo, and Miguel Olivo against Nick Blackburn here in the second inning. 1-1 on Tien. Hit over 300 on the trip. A home run, 3 doubles, 4 runs scored, 4 RBIs. Now batting at .281, and with Jose Guillen out, Jacobs batting 4th, Tien hitting 5th, although Mark was hitting 5th during the National League games with no DH. But prior to that, Trey trying to take a little pressure off of him, and Mark spent a couple of weeks hitting 6th, 7th, and 8th. One hop to Morneau. So Blackburn doing a good job of getting in on Tien. 1 away. Let's find Joel Goldberg again.
Ryan Frank down in the office in the pump room, and this is where everything is controlled. Think about it, 300,000 gallons of water in the fountain, more than 600 light fixtures, and so here we've got the fountain main control. This little computer board here shows everything that's being controlled. This up here gauges the wind, because obviously that water is going to blow out there. And then on the inside, it kind of looks just like your circuit breaker at home, except for maybe a lot bigger. And I am not going to touch anything here at all. I'm pretty sure they don't want that to happen. So let's go back upstairs to you guys.
Well, maybe not inside the circuit breaker, but that bright green button, I would have hit that green button. Just see what happens. See what happens. The fountains aren't going to explode or anything.
Well, we all might be going home. That's what I tell my wife all the time. You always got to touch stuff. She's real touchy. She's like to feel everything, and I'm one of those guys that I'm afraid to touch something because I'm afraid I'm going to break it.
What happens if we push this? 2-2 on Callaspo, just 5 out of 25 this past week with an RBI. Three and 3 road trip with the Royals before the trip. Had lost 5 in a row here at Kauffman Stadium and giving up an average of more than 10 runs per game. Facing the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. There's some pretty good communication over there on the right side as Morneau gave way to Punto. 2 down.
Well, the first baseman, second baseman should always know what's going on, and you can see where Nick Punto called him off. He wanted to go, and he called him off. He got back to the bag, and they made that play look real easy.
So the sinker baller Blackburn with 2 ground balls in the second inning, bringing up Miguel Olivo. .235 average for Olivo on the trip, but his home run on Wednesday night won the game for the Royals in 11 innings. Down 0-2 here. Also had 2 doubles, 3 RBIs on the trip. And for the first time all season was not behind the plate for Zach Greinke yesterday. Zach getting his 10th win with Brian Pena back there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Blackburn not a strikeout pitcher. Only 41 in 103 innings. Still 2-2. Text us at 432-432. Keyword Royals. A, do you think Zach Greinke could win 25? B, Joe Mauer hitting 400, or Albert Pujols winning the Triple Crown? Into left field, Olivo reaching out and hooking it into left. Second straight inning, the Royals have a 2-out single.
This is the strength of Miguel Oliva. Here's a changeup that goes down, Ryan, and he just goes down, and his top hand is so strong. He was able to take that pitch that's down and away and just hook it back to left field. That just shows you what kind of strength he has in his wrist and his hands.
That was almost Jose Guillen-like with that kind of half swing and still driving it to the left side. Now Meyer a little bit out in front. Mitch at 234 after going 3 out of 16 on the trip. Under Morneau's glove into right field. Olivo will go first to third. Meyer into second. That throw is wild. And the Royals are going to get a run. So Kadire trying to throw out Meyer at second base. Instead, threw it off the dugout suite. And the Royals take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Mitch does a good job to stand on top of that sinker and got right under the glove of Morneau at first base. And Olivo's off and running on this play. Here's where the mistake comes in. Kadire hustles over and he picks up the ball, Ryan. And this is why they say make a one-hop throw into a base. He tried to throw it all the way in the air and it just got away from him. And really there was no one to back that play up. Delvin Young came in from left field, tried to do the best job he could, but that's like in no man's land right there.
Fourth error of the year. And now 1-0 on Tony Pena Jr. 1 ball, 1 strike. Twins with the second fewest errors in the American League, 29 with that Kadire throw. Toronto Blue Jays with the fewest. Lays off the high pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike. TJ with just 3 at-bats on the trip, 0 for 3. So with 2 outs, nobody on, a single, a double, an error, and the Royals have a run. Meyer is at third base. And instead of 3-1, it's 2-2. Royals picking up where they left off in the Pittsburgh series, taking the game's first lead. Yesterday in Pittsburgh was the first time that the Royals got the early lead and hung on to the lead. On the corner, and down he goes. Blackburn strikes out his first, but an error gives the Royals a lead. KCA.com. By AT&T, switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And by Colorado Tourism, plan your summer vacation at Colorado.com. One to nothing Royals. Top of the order for Minnesota in the third inning. That's something Denard Span would really like to improve in 2009 as the leadoff man, bunting for a base hit. Nobody had more bunts for hits in the major leagues last year than the Twins, led by Carlos Gomez, who's not in there tonight. But this year, it's about the home runs. We told you about the 4 Twins in the lineup tonight who have 10 or more home runs. Joe Creedy was scratched. That would have made 5 in their lineup with 10 or more home runs. And that's the first time since '87 when Minnesota won the World Series with Kirby Puckett, Tom Brunansky, Kent Herbeck. First time since '87 they've had 5 hitters with 10 or more home runs before the break. So a little different style Twins offense. Teeing across the line, and Denard Span is out. Tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Ochaver hit 96. That's where he topped out in the first 2 innings. Blackburn at 93. Both guys relying on sink and ground balls when they're on. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. So now Brendan Harris reached on a fielder's choice, tried to bunt first time up. Ochaver making a good play and throwing down to second to cut down Span. On the ground to Tien. Plays the short hop and then throws high. So the throw sailed on him. And it happens every now and then, Frank, where you say the fielder handled the most difficult part of the play and then threw it away on what should have been the easy part.
Well, what you see right here, Ryan, he really throws off. You know, he had time to really set his feet and make a throw. He tried to throw the ball, you know, and on the run, but didn't quite get his body turned around, and that forces that ball up in the air. But here he had a chance to set his feet, take a crow hop, and make a good throw. And he just sort of casually went about it, and the ball just took off on him. So you always got to set those feet. Many times, as much as you can set your feet, the more accurate you're going to be. And you just want to flip that ball over there. You never know when it's going to take off on you.
And now Maurer, who flied to the warning track in center in the first inning. Outside, ball 1. Tonight's Firestone leaderboard, the Minnesota Twins leading hitters as far as batting average. That was coming into tonight. Maurer lost a couple of points with his fly ball in the first. The Twins with 3 hitters in there tonight, over 300. And again, in the air to center. Meyer the catch, 2 down. So Maurer is 0 for 2.
Right, you can tell that Luke's got a lot on this fastball here. This ball really just starts in off the plate, and Maurer tracked it pretty good, but it just stayed right in on his hands, and he had that little up in his swing. That was enough for the ball to get in there and force that fly ball to center field. You know, he's so used to seeing that ball travel further out over the plate, but this one he started deeper, and it just stayed right around the trademark on his bat.
Justin Morneau struck out in the first inning. And when Joel was talking about being inside of the fountains out in right field, it made me think of Justin Morneau. In 2003, hit his first major league home run here at Kauffman Stadium into the second tier of the fountains in right field off of Albie Lopez. Remember him?
Yeah.
Nice backhand stop by Olivo, 2-0. Well, you have Maurer, who's won 2 batting titles, and now Morneau hitting right behind him. He was the MVP in '06 when Maurer won his first title, and he was second in the MVP voting last year when Maurer won his second batting title. Dustin Pedroia was the MVP last year. The M&M boys, that's what they call them in Minnesota. That is the 4th walk surrendered by Hochevar. He hasn't given up a hit yet, but he has allowed 5 base runners with the walks and the tee in air. So 2 on, 2 out for Jason Kubel. Here's Morneau's first at bat back in the first inning.
Well, I started him off with a curveball, a good running fastball down and in, and a fastball that stayed out, and another changeup in the middle. Here's a fastball that's the one time you can miss your spot and say you came out ahead. Oliva wanted that ball down and in, and he ran it up and away, and Morneau chased it.
So the Arby's pitch by pitch, showing the strikeout of Morneau, but he walks here in the 3rd, and now 2 on for Kubel. And that sinker hit the corner. Kubel walk leading off the 2nd inning. Good fastball. Just barely got a piece. Still 0-2.
Well, Lucas throwing the third ball pretty good right here. That was good sink to the outer half. That was a perfect pitcher's pitch. Here he misses his spot again and gets away because he had such good run on his fastball. And there's a slider right there that he got down underneath the swing. And if he got the hitters beating that ball down, that means he's really doing a good job keeping the ball down.
Sometimes a sinker is too good and they can't put it in play. Heard someone once say that a good sinker gets you a lot of ground balls. A great sinker, the hitters are fouling it off with their feet.
Yeah, that is true. I've done that enough times. Bob Stanley, Dennis Lamp, all those guys had great sinkers. Yeah, they will. Yeah, that's the truth. You will foul off your feet a few times.
So you don't want to throw a great sinker. You want to throw a good sinker because you want to get ground balls, right?
I'll take.
Stop throwing that great sinker, would you?
I'll take the great one.
Again, he missed the spot and left that out over the plate, but Kubel fouls it away.
I think when you throw in sinkers or sliders or whatever you're throwing, I think when the catcher wants that ball in off the plate like that, I think that they should go with the 4-seam grip and just try to hit the catcher's mitt. It's hard to have a 2-seam grip and throw the ball inside and have it hold that line that you want it to hold.
Curveball to Cayaspo on one hop, plays it off to his side and throws out Kubel. The Twins strand 2 in the 3rd. They have already left 5 on base. founded the Marching Cobras, a premier Kansas City drill team that has performed throughout the United States and abroad. And in his leadership role, Smith has impacted thousands of inner city youth in his desire to develop productive and successful contributors to both the team and to our community. So Buck would be proud to have him in his seat tonight. Curve for a strike on DeJesus, lined out to center field in the first inning. Royals getting a run on a throwing error by Michael Kadire in the second. Hit hard towards left, sinking, and Delman Young makes a sliding play. Well, when you're hitting 300, that's a little more acceptable to line out in your first two at-bats, but when you're just trying to get back to the 240 mark, this hurts even more.
It really does, and I think it was more the ball that David hit than the catch that Delman Young made, because this ball was hit hard, and this ball was really slicing back toward Delman Young as he was coming over. So that was kind of a combination of David and Delman Young making this play.
And it's 0-1 on Bloomquist. Grounded out to third his first time up.
Well, the one thing about David, though, is at least he's getting his pitch. And when he's getting it, he's squaring it up. And I think that's what you have to look for. If you get your pitch and foul it off, you feel even worse. So at least you know your swings together. You just got to stay with what you're doing and hopefully get some breaks.
He is rarely not smiling. He is one of those guys where, at least by the look on his face, you can't tell whether he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4.
And sometimes he smiles in disbelief. He says, I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. What else can I do? So sometimes you have to smile and keep from crying in this game.
Called third strike, so Bloomquist is down. Blackburn second. 3-game series with Minnesota. Same time tomorrow, Brian Bannister against Scott Baker. Royals beat him in May. Royals live at 6:30. First pitch at 7:10. And the final game is Wednesday afternoon at 1:10. Billy singled his first time up. No balls, 1 strike. I remember when Buddy Bell was manager of the Royals, and kind of got on his nerves that no matter what was happening, David DeJesus was smiling, and he took him aside and said, David, would you just stop smiling all the time, especially when we're losing? And so he did for about a week, and he went in the tank, and Buddy called him back in and said, all right, you just smile whenever you want to smile.
Well, every player has his comfort zone, and it may not be what another person might think it should be, but if that's what's going to make that player relax and go about his job and do it to his best, then you got to kind of let that along. It's a little different if you're on the bus going back to the hotel or going to the airport after a tough loss and hear guys laughing and stuff. That's different. But on the bench, I think, like I say, some guys used to think I used to smile all the time, but it was more of a grimace, when I'm at the plate. But I think everybody's got their comfort zone, and you got to let them have it. I think that when you try to control too much, then you take people out of their character, and it doesn't work too well.
There's another Royal who has a tough time hiding his smile, Brian Pena.
That old saying is you got to have fun, and you see players having fun, you're having too much fun. You can't do that.
They need fun guidelines.
I know what the best fun guideline is win.
Still 2-2.
Well, Blackman's doing a good job, Ryan, of getting that two-seamer in under Billy's hands, and he's hitting around it and beating it in the ground. You very rarely see Billy hit balls down the foul third baseline foul like he's hitting those two right there.
Billy is 2 for 2. Both of his hits coming with 2 strikes. So the first 3 innings against Nick Blackburn, he has retired the first 2, but then the third hitter has reached with a base hit. The Royals, with the help of an error, turned that into a run in the second.
Well, that's a good piece of hitting. He had 2 sinkers up under his hands. He hit them foul, and then he comes on the outer half, and Billy makes the adjustment and goes back the other way. And Billy just says, when I go to the plate, I'm thinking fastball to right center field, and everything else I can pull.
And now Jacobs flied out to center in the first inning. Slow curve for strike 1. Blackburn was hurt by an error in his last start, but it was his own fault. He committed the error, and that was the difference in the game. Lost a 1-run game at Milwaukee, an 8-inning complete game. There aren't many games that the Minnesota Twins lose because of their defense. A 29th round pick for the Twins in 2001 from Ada, Oklahoma. Big bounce to Punto, and that's the inning. Oh, and 1 on Michael Kadire. 1-0 Royals, thanks to a Kadire error. Kadire reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. No hits allowed by Hochevar through 3. He has walked 4. The Royals have allowed a base runner because of an error. Fair ball. There's the first hit. De Jesus plays it well, but then his momentum takes him into the corner, so no chance for a throw, and the Twins with a runner at second base, nobody out.
So Michael Kadire does a real good job. This is sinker coming in on him. He really got the bat head down on this ball and kept it right inside the bag, right inside the line. And then that was an easy double down the left field line. David, realizing that he didn't have a play at second, just took the time and got the ball into the cutoff guy. But he did a real good job. That's 91-mile-an-hour sinker that's coming in on him, and really did a good job getting inside of that ball.
Brian Busher walked his first time up. Now the Twins offense in years past was at its best. This was an automatic run. Runner at second, nobody out. Next batter would get him to third. Next batter would get him home. That's just the way their offense worked. Myers circling around. Kadire is not tagging. And I was just going to say that this is something the Twins struggled with when the Royals were in Minnesota in May. They were not playing their typical Twin style of baseball. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. A little bit of sunlight left. And the Royals outplayed Minnesota in that series at the Metrodome and winning the series, but the Twins certainly didn't help themselves. They had a lot of runners at second, nobody out. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. Just didn't get him home. And now Delman Young into shallow right. Willie is there. Kadire bluffing a tag, but he holds. So there you go. Leadoff double, and Kadire is still standing there with 2 outs. Joel Goldberg.
All right, guys, final thing from the pump room. There is an emergency exit, and I will let you know right now there is no emergency, but it's a little manhole, and you can climb right up here. This is right outside Arrivals. And here we go. See, there's the exit. Just in case something happens wrong with that other door, I can get right out here and see all the action. I feel like a mole popping right out on the golf course. All right, let's go back upstairs to you guys.
So Joel coming out of the little manhole. They have a bigger manhole for big men. 0-1 on Punto.
Oh my goodness.
He's got an affinity with water all of a sudden. Out on the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh, and now we can't get him out of the fountains and the fountain machine room and the little manhole. 0-2 on Punto. Mentioned last time Punto was up that he has missed the last 5 games with bruised ribs after sliding headfirst into first. And I don't think there's one coach on the planet who teaches that. But some guys, especially the ones that are always going 100%, end up sliding into first. Still 0-2.
Well, everybody says you shouldn't do it. You know, you're not going to be any faster going head first to first base than stand on your feet and running through the base. The only thing you do is create a cloud of dust and make the play look a lot closer than it really should be. But you can pop your fingers. In this case, he went across the base and hit the corner of the base into his ribs, and that's how he got hurt.
Twins had a runner at second with nobody out. And Kadire never got to third base. The Twins have stranded 6. 4 scoreless innings for Luke Hochevar, giving up just 1 hit. Royals in front 1-0. Mark Teahen bats against Nick Blackburn. Takes a little bit outside. Teahen grounded out to Justin Morneau at first in the 2nd inning. Alberto Callaspo after him, and then Miguel Olivo. Off of Blackburn's glove, Punto tried to barehand it. Don't know if he would have gotten Teahen. And the Royals, for the first time today, have the leadoff man on. Infield single for Teahen.
This breaking ball that Mark stayed right with and hit back through the middle. We had a lot of hits through the middle, and it was to Blackburn's glove side, which allowed him to get something on that ball and keep it from going into center field. Punto had a play, but it's awful tough when the ball is rolling that fast to field it barehanded.
Callaspo grounded to second his first time. Teahen with only 3 stolen bases so far as we get closer to the midway point of the season. This is game number 75. Midway point at 81. Now I say only 3 stolen bases, but last year Teahen had only 4. But the year before that, 13. I mean, strikes me as the type of guy who could possibly steal 15 to 20 bases.
Well, he's definitely capable of doing it, Ryan. I think we're so used to seeing him run hard on the bases and go first to third and from home to second on stretching singles and the doubles, that he gives the appearance that he can be that type of a base stealer, but just the opportunities just haven't presented themselves for him to run more.
Delman Young in left field retires Callaspo. Teahen back to first, where he's been chatting with Justin Morneau. They were teammates at the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada. Ink College Nights offers $7 lower level seats for high school and college students with a valid ID. Available every Wednesday. The next Ink College Night will be an Ink College Day at 1:10 against Minnesota. And on that day, the Royals will also host a happy hour with concession specials in the outfield experience. Oh! 0-1 on Miguel Olivo. Singled, scored the run in the 2nd inning. Mitch Meyer hit a ball off of Justin Morneau's glove that died out in shallow right field. Olivo going first to third. Meyer turning it into a double, and Kadayer's throw to second sailed all the way to the third base dugout suite and allowed Olivo to score. Broke his bat. Tough hop for Busher, and Punto realizing only had 1 out. It was a close play, but out, says Dan Isonia, the umpire at second base.
Now, Mark did everything he could to get down here, Ryan, to be safe. And the one thing you got to do as a runner, a base runner, is know when to go to break the double play up and when to go to be safe. And Mark Teahen went to be safe right there. And I think we got a little support right there. So that's a great job of hustling on his part to get down to second base.
And now 0-1 on Meyer. Doubled, leading to that throwing error by Kadayer, which allowed Olivo to score. Now Miguel at first with 2 outs. Olivo's running, and Meyer fouls it off of third. Busher might have a play, and he dropped it. It wasn't an easy play, but he elected to go with a basket catch down by his belt rather than catch it high, and Meyer is still alive.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to catch that ball above the shoulders, Ryan, And unless you can't outrun the ball, then you have to catch it that way, and the ball hit him right on the wrist.
Caught the inside corner. How about the late movement on that pitch? Third strikeout for Blackburn. Royals done in the fourth. He's giving up just one hit, but he's walked 4, and the Twins have stranded 6.
Well, the one thing, Ryan, he's pitched around his walks, and he's been able to come back and make the pitch they need to get out of the inning, and that's always a positive sign. And Luke just keeps on maturing on the mound, and hopefully every time he pitches out of a situation like this, from a confidence standpoint, he continues to get better.
It'll be the top of the order for the Twins as we go to the 5th inning. Third time through the order. Denard Span with a walk and a foul out to third his first 2 times up. Big curveball rolls in for strike 1. Span, Harris, and Maurer. If anybody gets on Morneau. Luke with 1 strikeout. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and one, and with the walks and all the runners stranded, I can think back to some of Hochevar's starts this year and last year where he didn't always hold it together like he has tonight and still come up with a big pitch and hang up the scoreless innings like he is tonight.
Well, that's true, Ryan. I think when you're walking guys in the middle and you got a bigger hitter coming up next, you got a chance of pitching, and because you're not thinking about guys still in bases, or you're not thinking about hitting and running. But when you come to the top of the order with Denard Span and Brendan Harris, then you don't want to walk Denard Span and then create a situation where they may be able to put on a hit and run, and next thing you know, it's first and third and no outs.
To the right side, Butler backhands to Hochevar, 1 away. Well done.
Well, Billy does a real good job here. He really does a great job staying soft with it. And what he does well here, he leads Luke, and he leads him chest high so he doesn't have to break stride, and that's what makes this play work. If he throws that ball down around his ankles as tall as Luke is, that makes that play tougher. Up higher, then it slows him down, and he loses track of where the base is.
Here's Luke's pitch count, brought to you by James B. Nutter. 74 pitches, so a little on the high side, not bad. 44 of those strikes. Ball one on Harris. He has reached twice on a fielder's choice and on an error by Tien. One and one. Only the second time that the Twins have seen Luke Hochevar. The first time this year. He was at Omaha when the Royals were in Minnesota in May. Last year the Twins beat him, scoring 5 runs against him and 5 in a third innings. Little inside, 2-1.
I think Luke would probably like to have this pitch back. If he repeats this pitch again, I guarantee he may get this call.
And the reaction of Harris wasn't necessarily it was a good eye, it just surprised him. Slider is fouled away, 2-2. Got him. There's that pitch again, Frank.
Had a lot of life on it too, Ryan. Really jumped inside. You can see where Miguel Oliva wants it. You can see where it starts. You can see how it really just jumped right to the glove. And I'd say you hit that glove the majority of the time, you're going to have some success.
So that brings up Maurer with nobody on base. And Luke has gotten him twice on fly balls to center field. In the first inning, it drove Meyer to the back of the warning track.
I think the key word here to Maurer is down. You want to pitch down. Good movement, down. That's a good pitch right there.
So his average has tumbled all the way down to 390. Which would be the highest average in the major league since 1980.
That was an exciting year. Every time George got a base hit, I mean, the crowd just came to their feet, and it was just fun to go through that, and just seeing him standing on second base, tipping his hat to the crowd. That was exciting. It sent chills down your back.
Still 0-2. Speaking of things that hardly ever happen, here are the early returns from You Call It, presented by Sprint, and it's a tie between Albert Pujols and Zach Greinke. Zach winning 25 this year. Pujols the Triple Crown over Maurer hitting 400. Billy backs up to get a nice big hop to the bag, and Luke has his first 1-2-3 inning. behind the pitching of Luke Hochaver, leading 1-0 to the bottom of the fifth. In People's All-Stars Among Us campaign, 3 finalists from each Major League team were nominated for their charitable efforts. Today we congratulate John Lair as the Royals winner, director for New Hope Services and a longtime Special Olympics coach. John will be honored during ceremonies before the All-Star game in St. Louis on July the 14th, seen only on Fox. 1-0 on Tony Pena Jr. Struck out looking in the second inning. Bounces it past Busher and into left field. Leadoff man on for the second straight inning. TJ 1 for 2 tonight.
So the threat of a bunt really helps a hitter sometimes, and this is where Tony Pena gets a lot of help. Busher's in for the bunt, and he just bounces that ball right over his left shoulder, right into left field.
Well, we've said it so many times, Frank, a sinker ball pitcher is a good guy to use the hit and run against. Although David has had 2 great swings against Blackburn. That sinker is low. David is line to center, line to left. That was a sliding play by Delman Young. Well, a hard luck 0 for 2.
It's a hard luck 0 for 2, but he's using a proper approach to facing a sinker ball. You have to hit him the opposite way to get the ball in the air, and David is doing a good job there. Right now, you'd probably like to see him roll over, want to hit it in the hole and create a first and third situation for the Royals.
Pena's running, and DeJesus goes into left field. Pena's going to test Delman Young's arm and passes the test. First and third, nobody out.
Tony gets a good jump off first base, and David takes a good swing. He stays true to what he's been doing all night and gets a line drive to left field, and Tony just keeps going into third base.
And now Bloomquist, who was grounded out to third and struck out. So his average has taken a bit of a dip down to 276, but a chance to drive in a run here. It's ball 1 from Blackburn. Bloomquist in right field tonight. Jose Guillen out with a tight left side. Willie had 5 hits in Minnesota in May, including his first home run in 2 seasons. Now DeJesus is running, and Bloomquist fouls it away. The Royals haven't been much of a hit and run team this year, but Trey Hillman trying to turn up the heat in the 5th inning.
Well, you can tell that was a hit and run right there. The ball's up and in on Willie, and he did a great job just fouling this ball off. You see, he tried to take it to right field and everything. That one just jumped right in on his hands.
Shallow left center. Young with the stronger arm calling off Span, and Pena holds, and DeJesus moves up to second base. So the call was to hold Tony Pena Jr. It would have been difficult for Delman Young to make an accurate throw here, Frank, with all of his momentum going towards center field.
Well, it would have been a much easier play for Span, but he's got the stronger arm. But the biggest thing here, he just didn't keep the ball down and allowed David to go to second base. David watching the throw, and then he just goes on to second base once he sees it go by the cutoff man.
So 2 in scoring position for Billy, who has 2 hits already tonight. 291 overall, but 339 with runners in scoring position, and that's still in the top 10 in the American League.
You know, that fly ball, the way that Delman Young is going to left center field on this play, you know, as a third base coach, you're watching the angle of the guy that's catching the ball, and sometimes you can gamble on the angle, and that's a good read that third base coaches get to, whether or not they're going to allow that runner to try to score or not.
And now, again, Span and Young fighting for the ball in left center field. So second and third and 2 down. Well, it looked like 2 plays ago. I mean, you're not going to send Pena on that fly ball, but the one before, it looked like Span was going to make the catch, and at the last moment, Delman Young came over. Can you make that adjustment quickly as a third base coach?
Well, you see how both of them are going, and you basically, if Span's going to his right, that he's got to spin and make that throw. And Delman Young, and once he caught the ball, he still had to travel 2 or 3 more steps before he got his body angled in order to make that throw. If he does a turn, it's a little bit easier, but when you have to turn to the inside, it takes a few more steps to make that throw. So basically, just going by the angle of who's catching the ball, whether or not they'll be able to get a good throw off quickly and a release time, or it'll take them extra steps. And in both guys, regardless of which one would have caught that ball, they would have to take extra steps to make a good throw to the plate.
Now the Royals need a hit from Jacobs. Flied out to center, grounded out in his first 2 times. 2 balls, no strikes. Jacobs is due for an RBI. And you go back to May the 25th. Since then, Mike Jacobs has 1 run driven in. (3-0) with Tien on deck. Joe Mauer, we mentioned this when we were in Minnesota, goes through 2 different types of signs. The first series, almost like he's a third base coach, touching parts of his body, and then after that, with the fingers and the numbers. Maybe the first set is location, and the second set is the actual pitch. They're loaded up for Tien. Nick Blackburn walking just his 27th of the year. He is one of the stingiest. The Twins, the stingiest as far as walks go in the American League. Now, Rick Anderson is out there to talk to Blackburn. And while they talk it over, we remind you that on the 4th of July, a 12-10 game against the White Sox. First 10,000 ladies will receive this halter top. And the first 10,000 guys will get a classic ringer tee thanks to KMCI 38 The Spot. So Pena third, DeJesus at second, and Jacobs at first. Tien is grounded out, single. A little low at the sinker. Now, I know there was an open base, but I would think the Twins would rather allow Mike Jacobs a chance to beat him here than Mark Tien.
I think it was just a matter of Blackburn missing his spots. They wanted to keep the ball away from him, but he was missing by quite a bit.
Tien into the left field corner, and when I think of Tien into the left field corner with Delman Young chasing, I think of his 3-run inside the park home run last year against Joe Nathan in the bottom of the 9th inning. Tien with 2 inside the park home runs last year. It was one of the more exciting moments at Kauffman Stadium. pitch that Tien usually crushes out over the plate and up.
Do you think you get a bigger cheer for a home run out of the park or an inside the park home run?
Inside the park every time.
It seems like it elevates. You get to second base, and the closer you get to third, it gets a little bit louder. Like 3 different pitches in the crowd. And I agree with you. I think inside the park home run every time.
Tried to back it up over the corner. That was the pitch that Blackburn used to strike out Meyer to end the 4th. Didn't get the call this time.
Well, I tell you what, Ryan, I think if he makes this pitch again, he'll probably get it on the next call. They bought that late movement on it, and Mark actually just gave up on it.
Struck him out. Royals had first and third, nobody out, and come up empty. Open the inning with a double. So runner at second, nobody out, but Coach Haber buckled down, got 3 fly balls from Busher, Young, and Punto. And the Twins failed to score, and Justin Morneau fails to reach, leading off in the 6th inning as he grounds out to Tony Pena Jr. So Morneau 0 for 2 with a walk. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Well, the numbers that really jump out on the scoreboard tonight: left on base. Twins and Royals through the first 5 innings have combined to leave 13 runners on base. Kubel has walked and grounded out. Good pitch. Almost Zach Greinke-like, the hard slider to the back foot.
Well, he's gone curveball to slider, and that's like changing boats in the middle of the stream. He's done a good job of it. You'd think it'd be a little hard to go from that curveball to that slider, especially with the hardness of it, but he's made that adjustment pretty good.
Hit the bag. That's a fair ball. Kubel never left the box. Kubel saying it went off of his foot. It sure sounded like it went off the plate. Although Ron Gardenhire comes sprinting out of the third base dugout. He's pointing down to third saying, hey, why don't you ask another umpire? Or maybe even look at the baseball and see if there is any shoe polish on the ball.
Well, players don't use shoe polish anymore. We used to use real shoe polish on our shoes, but I don't think they do that anymore.
He is just begging Larry Vanover to ask Charlie Relaford, the third base umpire and crew chief. Just ask him. And I don't blame him. I mean, That's why there's 3 other guys out there.
Well, it's really not that big a deal to get an opinion of your third base. I mean, you're just wasting time on the field. You can really calm things down. It didn't have to get to this point.
Charlie Relaford wants to help out. Now, if this Gardenhire's gone, now Charlie Relaford is going to come in to help break it up. If this was any other situation, Relaford would have come on, but he knew that it wasn't until the invitation of Larry Vanover and that he played a role in Gardenhire getting ejected. And this, to me, Frank, it doesn't matter whether this benefits the Royals or benefits the Twins. I have always had an issue when an umpire doesn't ask one of the other 3 guys.
Well, and plus Charlie Relaford's the crew chief too, and he could have come down and he could have. This really didn't have to get to this point right here. All he wanted to do was have him ask. And if Charlie Relaford said, "Look, I thought it was a fair ball," then that would have been fine too.
It did go off of his foot. May have gotten a piece of his foot. It sure sounded like it went off the plate. May have gotten a little piece of his foot. I'll tell you what, though, that's close enough where you should at least ask.
I think they should always ask, and it just cuts down on the arguments and it keeps the game moving. This game really didn't have. I mean, Ron Gardenhire shouldn't be out of this ball game because of that play there. They should have at least asked, even if they back each other up. At least they asked, but they never asked. And Charlie Relaford, being the crew chief, he could have come down and really took care of that situation before it got to that point.
Well, it sure sounded like it hit something. It didn't sound like it hit the dirt. I thought it went off the plate.
I know George Brett had a way of saying anything close to my foot, I'm going to yell ouch and jump up in the air, and he did that a lot.
That time of night where it can be hard to find the ball, but Meyer is there, and that's the inning. So Twins are gone, and so is Gardenhire.
That's the bottom of the 6th. Royals ahead 1-0, and this is our Sonic Slam inning. And our contestant tonight is Tony Bishop from Olathe, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Tony wins $700. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Tony will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Cayaspo is grounded to second, flied out to left.
Hard.
1-1. We spent some time during the break watching that replay, and it appears that it only hit the dirt. although it was very close to Kubal's foot. We listened to the sound of it, and it sounded like it hit something other than the dirt. I thought it went off the plate just based on the sound, and then on the replay, it wasn't off the plate. But the final result, Ron Gardenhire getting ejected when home plate umpire Larry Vanover refused help from another umpire. Royals have stranded 7 in 5 innings against Blackburn. The Twins have stranded 6 in 6 innings against Hochaver. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Blackburn not a big strikeout pitcher, but 3 of his 4 strikeouts tonight have been the final out of the inning. Cayaspo belts it to deep right. Kadire to the track. Gone. 2-0 Royals.
This is a time where Tony Bissett can start counting her money. She's got $700 with this sonic slam, 6th inning home run from Alberto Cayaspo.
Not one single major league home run before this year. Cayaspo has 5 before the All-Star break. And remember when the Cincinnati Reds were here, he hit one off the glove of the Reds right fielder. He's come close to hitting 6 this year.
Well, Blackburn kept trying to sneak that fastball in on him, and finally he just looked for it and got the head of the bat out of it, and just put it out there in the bullpen. I tell you, he's been surprising on that with fastballs this year, power-wise, from the ball up from the left side.
Only the 8th home run given up by Blackburn. Oddly, all of his home runs allowed have been on the road. 2-1 on Olivo, who scored the first run tonight on a throwing error by Michael Kadire. He is 1 for 2. Three and 1. Balls, 2 strikes. Olivo jumping back. Off the mask. So the mask leaves the face, but the face stays on the head.
And I tell you, Ryan, I don't know if you can ever simulate what this feels like. You know, a catcher getting hit square in a mask with a fastball like that is actually coming faster after he fouls it back and just hits you square in the face. I don't know how you simulate that feeling at all.
Even if you tried to, if you would simulate it, the catcher would know it was coming. Right? I mean, when that happens, you don't know it's coming. But if you were to say, all right, Joe, we're going to work on throwing the ball off of your mask as if it's a foul ball. Well, he knows it's coming.
Well, he's probably going to tense up, and that's probably going to create more problems than when he doesn't know it's coming. At least right in this situation, he's probably a little more relaxed when he gets hit in the face. But I'd say that's always a concern, just getting that square hit right in the center of the mask. You've actually seen some umpires at times take it right in the center of the mask, and the next day they end up with a concussion.
I've been told, Frank, that the new hockey-style masks are designed to take it right in the square of the mask. If you hit it right in the middle of it, if it hits you right in the middle, it's designed to absorb it. It's when you get hit on the sides, that's when it hurts. This will hurt Blackburn. Back-to-back home runs for the Royals. 12th of the year, his second career home run, and the Royals are out to a 3-0 lead.
I'll tell you, Ryan, and one thing that when you see you got a guy's number, Miguel Olivo's 5 for 9 against Blackburn, and he gets a fastball here that just drives it into left center field, out in the dry duck fountain seats. I mean, that was an outstanding swing right there by Miguel Olivo. He hasn't missed a ball in a half in quite a while.
That's the first out of the inning. Meyer flies to left. Mitch, 1 out of 3. Pretty good at bat, too. He fouled off 3 pitches before the home run.
I know he wanted to get the ball inside, but didn't quite get it there. Just left it out over the plate and down. He did a great job just getting the bat hit to the ball, and that's his power zone right there.
Well, he might have caught it if the guy next to him didn't put his cowboy hat in the kid's face. Did you see that? 2-0 on TJ, a single and a strikeout. Harris backhands a deep short. Peña's out, 2 down in the 6th inning.
Well, Ryan, with that home run by Miguel Olivo, Tony Bishop from Olathe, Kansas, she can count up another $100. She's having some kind of night tonight.
That'll get you a lot of cherry limeades. Tater tots.
I hope she's listening.
Second time the Royals have gone back-to-back this year. Mike Jacobs and Jose Guillen went back-to-back in Toronto. That was on June 5th, 2 road trips ago. De Jesus has had 3 great swings, but he's just 1 for 3 with a couple of lineouts. He could be 4 for 4 tonight. He'll settle for 2 for 4. Runner at first, 2 down.
Well, Ryan, the one thing that David's done well tonight, he's stuck to his plan. All of his balls have been to left center field. They all have been line drives, and this time he didn't hit them quite as well, but he stayed focused on it. He went down and got it, and got a semi-line drive in the left center field. So he's really stayed to his plan all night tonight, and he's really 500 on the night. That's pretty good.
That's the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey in the bullpen. As Bloomquist short hops it to Harris, no play. So the inning continues. That'll be an error charge to Harris.
Well, this play right here, Ryan, you gotta force out at second base. The ball's not hit that well, so you really don't have to come in and create that in-between hop for yourself. You can stay back, take a longer hop, knowing that the play is going to go to second base to get you out of the inning.
Twins with 2 errors tonight. Remember, they came in with the second fewest in the American League. On the inside, 0-1 on Billy. 2 singles first time up. And then flied out to center in the 5th inning. That was with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Not deep enough for Peña to tag from third and come to the plate. Really good to see the Royals come out and get a couple of runs in this inning, because last inning they had runners at first and third, nobody out, and didn't get anyone home.
Well, true, and it's good to add on runs late in the game. You score those early runs, then you put up 3 or 4 zeros with nothing. So it's nice to be in a position where you give yourself more than one opportunity to score.
Blackburn is up over 100 pitches. Iaspo and Olivo with back-to-back home runs. And then with 2 outs, a single from DeJesus. Bloomquist reaching on an error. Shallow right. In comes Kadire, and that ends a long inning for Blackburn and a productive inning for the Royals. Iaspo belting his 5th, back-to-back with Olivo, his team leading. Kochevar has been very good when it counts. With runners in scoring position, the Twins are 0 for 6. And the Royals coming up with 3 runs, including back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 6th by Iaspo and Olivo. Another run coming home on an error. And now Kochevar working on a 1-hit shutout. 1-1 on Brian Busher. The only hit for Minnesota. Michael Kadire leading off the 4th with a double, but the Twins couldn't get him to 3rd, let alone get him home. Very uncharacteristic of their style of play. Luke has retired the last 9. It has not been an easy night for Luke. In the first 4 innings, Minnesota stranded 6. Luke has walked 4. 3-2 on Busher, but he hasn't walked anyone since the 3rd. Got the Twins on just 7 pitches in the last inning. Pena calling off Tien. 1 away, so 10 in a row retired by Kochevar. Up comes Delwyn Young. Don't forget about Bob Evans' bases loaded 4-packs, the complete package. Every Friday and Sunday game, you'll get 4 Royals tickets, with each ticket worth $10 toward anything you want in the stadium. Concessions, merchandise, all that for just $60. Out away by Delman Young. Slide out to left, slide out to right. 1-1. Game 2 tomorrow. Brian Bannister and Scott Baker, same time. It'll be in HD. Brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. 1 and 2 on Delman Young.
But Luke's still got a lot of life to his fastball and his slider, right? That sinker's really jumping in. That two-seamer's really moving in on the right-handed hitters, and that slider's really has a lot of late break.
Really pounding the Twins inside as well.
I think that's what you have to do. If you want to get someone out of the way, and if you want your breaking ball to be more effective, you have to pitch in off the plate, and you have to pitch in off the plate hard.
And the slider is pulled to the left side, but it gets through Tien and Pena. So not well hit, well placed. Only the second hit for the Twins, and that snaps the string of 10 in a row set down by Hochevar.
I think you're right. This is what they call a CNI hit right here. Luke does a great job on his breaking ball, gets it away, and Delman Young really extends himself and really hooks the ball back, and just fortunate that he was able to get it between Tien and Tony Pena in a good spot.
Luke is right at 100 pitches. And they begin to stir around in the Royals bullpen as Punto takes a ball after showing a bunt. John Bale, who got one out yesterday in the Royals 3-2 win over the Pirates. And out comes Bob McClure. After Punto, Span would be next, left-hand batter, then Harris, right-hand batter, and then the dangerous trio of Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel. You can see why Bale is warming up. Reminder, tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Right to Pena. Out at second. Out at first. Double play. And the Twins send just 3 to the plate in the 7th. This might be the end of Luke Hochevar's night. 102 pitches, 7 innings. John Bale continues to throw in the Royals bullpen with a lot of lefties coming up for the Twins. Panera takes us around the American League, where Boston has beaten Baltimore. 3-game lead for the Red Sox coming in tonight. Chicago over Cleveland in the Central. 6th win for Gavin Floyd. 7th loss for Carl Pavano. Tampa Bay beating Toronto. The Angels over the Rangers, top 2 teams in the West. The Angels hang on. They'll have a 2.5-game lead over Texas. And Detroit is at Oakland. Tigers leading the Central by 4 games over Minnesota. And here is knuckleballer R.A. Dickey. The Royals getting 10 hits off of Nick Blackburn. 3 runs. One of them was unearned. And Jacobs pounds it to center. Span angling towards left center field makes the play. Jacobs 0 for 3 with a walk tonight. And now Mark Teahen. R.A. Dickey has become a knuckleball pitcher. The Royals faced him in May at the Metrodome, but he did not throw his knuckleball. That was that extra inning game that went 11 innings. And Dickey coming into the game with the bases loaded after the Royals were pushing Craig Breslow around. And Joe Mauer had not caught R.A. Dickey's knuckleball all spring because he had been out with the back injury. And Ron Gardenhire bringing in Dickey, not allowing him to throw his best pitch. There's one that falls off the table right there, because told him it wouldn't be fair for him to start throwing knuckleballs to Mauer in an extra inning game with the bases loaded.
Well, that's a good chance for a wild pitch, too.
Teahen 1 for 3 tonight. Craig Breslow had walked 3. And then Dickey coming in the 11th. And then he walked the first batter that he faced. Punto on the outfield grass scoops Teahen's ground ball, throws him out, 2 down. This is a lot more like a typical Royals Twins game, low scoring, but that wasn't the case in May. The Royals outscoring the Twins 23-19. A couple of 7-5 games and an 11-7 game. And the Royals 6 outs away on defense from making it 3 out of 4 against the Twins this year. One of those schedule quirks, the Twins have not been to Kauffman Stadium until this series, and the Royals on their next road trip have not yet been to Detroit. They'll be going there for the first time. Second hit for Callaspo. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Minnesota and be making a lot of trips to Detroit in the second half. Hey fans, MLB.com's At Bat 2009 for the iPhone and the iPod Touch puts live baseball at your fingertips. You'll get play-by-play from game day, real-time box scores, video highlights, and even live game day audio. Visit Royals.com today on your iPhone or iPod Touch to download At Bat 2009. Aspo may have kind of bounced or leaned or shuffled towards second base before getting back to the bag.
Well, he just started catching. He had his hands on his knees. You know, you catch a base runner with his hands on his knees. You don't know whether he's ready or relaxed or just too comfortable, and you just give him your best move right away. A lot of base runners are used to getting that best move right away. Usually try to lull you to sleep with that in between one, then they come back with the best one. He got the best move right away.
Callaspo and Olivo going back-to-back with home runs last inning. Callaspo's 5th. Olivo's 12th. 2-0. Pounded again to left center field. Back goes Span. Off the wall. Now it rolls away from him. Fiaspo is around third. He will score. Olivo wants a triple. He is safe. Even though it appeared he looked over his shoulder in between second and third base. Olivo drives in Fiaspo. 4-0 Royals.
Well, Miguel, I say Ryan is deadly on the inner half, and here's a fastball right down the middle. He really gets the bat head out on it. Well, Alberto Castro never slowed up. He just kept going. Yeah, Miguel, he was going all the way to third right from the start.
What's he looking at in between second and third base? Is he thinking inside the park home run? On Mitch Meyer. Second triple for Olivo, and with John Buck having 3, that's 5 triples from the Royals catchers this year. Mitch doubled back in the second inning, and on that play, Michael Kadire overthrew second base and allowed Olivo to score. And now 2 for the Royals in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. And Meyer takes a walk. So first and third, 2 away for Pena.
Ryan, as soon as Miguel hits this ball, he knows that's going to be in the gap in left center field. And as soon as he sees it fall, then he just takes off right here. He's still taking a look at the baseball, and I don't know, that could have cost him right there.
I was thinking the same thing. If he's thrown out at third base, it would be because he was looking over his shoulder.
It might be one of those plays, Ryan, where that play was so close at third base that he might have been better off just standing at second base.
Oh, and 1 on Pena, singled in the 5th inning, 1 for 3. Knuckleball from Dickey can be hard to handle. Last year, pitching for Seattle, he had 4 wild pitches in 1 inning. And his catcher, Kenji Jojima, had a pass ball. So that's 5 balls that got away from the catcher, allowing runners to score. That was against Minnesota. And it appears that Mauer has a little bigger glove as Meyer takes off for second base, no throw. So with Dickey coming in, Mauer goes to his knuckleball specialty glove. 3rd stolen base for Meyer. Kind of a cross in between a catcher's glove and a first baseman's glove. Up the middle, Harris has it, spins, and a stretch for Morneau, and that's the inning. Royals add a run. Olivo triples home Piaspo, 4-0 KC. Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Well, Luke Hochevar is done after an outstanding outing tonight. 7 shutout innings, 2 hits. So in his last 2 starts, Hochevar has given up 2 runs, 5 hits in 14 innings. Now John Bale with a bunch of lefties coming up. It'll be Span, and then the right-hand batter Harris, and then lefties Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel. And the impressive thing about Luke is that he kind of fought his control in the first 3 innings, walking 4, but made the big pitches when he had to. The Twins were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position against him tonight.
Well, if you talk to Luke about that, he won't be happy about the walks, but he would be happy about the way he got around it. The game didn't get away. He kept it where it was and made the big pitches.
Olivo and Butler making a good play to get off the bag and just keep that from going into right field. So Denard Span, it wasn't a great bunt, but he popped it off the plate, and that's his first hit of the night.
Well, this ball bounced right off the plate, and Miguel Oliva really should have held this ball right here. But Billy did a great job back picking this ball out of dirt. Castle did a good job backing that play up. So, and Bloomquist also was backing that play up also. They had that play surrounded.
Trey's out there arguing. I think he felt that Denard Span was running out of the baseline.
Well, he's got to stay in. He can go down that line, then he's got to get inside that square. So Trey's got an argument right there. That left foot was definitely too far on the infield side of first base. But I think the only way you're going to get that one right is if the ball hits the runner in the back, probably.
It stands out more when it affects the play, but that didn't affect the play. Brendan Harris 0 for 3 tonight. Zach Greinke pitched a gem yesterday, but because of the 59-minute rain delay, he did not return after the delay. It was Jamie Wright, John Bale, and Joakim Soria slamming the door on the Pirates. Bale going a third of an inning. Jamie Wright an inning and a third. Joaquim Soria 1, 2, 3, ninth, and Zach won his 10th. Almost got him on the foot. Two and two. Billy saves a wild throw span with 12 stolen bases. Minnesota Twins are 13th in the league in stolen bases. They're normally in the top third of the league, but as we told you early tonight, they become a little bit more of a slugging team than a running, slashing, bunting team. Pass Tien, 2 on, nobody out. And now you have the big boys coming up.
Well, this is a game of interest right here, and that's what it was, getting by Mark Tien there at third base. But Brendan Harris really hit the ball solid in the 6 hole.
With Mauer coming up, let's take a look at the final results tonight, if you call it, presented by Sprint. We asked you what is most likely to happen. Zach Greinke winning 25 games. 46%. In 1990, Bob Welch went 27-6 for the A's. That's the last time someone's won 25. 16%. Mauer hitting 400. Ted Williams hitting 406 in 1941. And Pujols winning the Triple Crown, 38% saying that. It was Carl Yastrzemski winning the Triple Crown last for the Red Sox, what, in 67? Sound right? Chance for 2. Out at second. Double play. How big is that? And Joe Mauer, 394 coming in tonight, is 0 for 4.
And John Bell really did a job there, Ryan, inducing that ground ball double play. That was really huge. There's a pitch that's supposed to have been away. It ran back in, and he couldn't get extended on it. Just beat it in the ground. Right to Caspo, to Pena, to Butler.
Boy, it sure looks a lot better with Morneau coming up with only 1 man on in a 4-run game because of this. Tonight's league leaders brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Only Evan Longoria and Jason Bay have more RBIs in the American League than Morneau. But Morneau and Mauer are a combined 0 for 6 tonight. If you factor in Kubel, 0 for 8. And if you add Kadire, 1 for 10.
And Kadire really been swinging the bat well coming in.
Just off the outside edge. Off of Olivo's glove and rolls a long way from home plate, but in a 4-0 game, still not worth the gamble for Denard Span.
Of all the catches I've seen this year, I don't know if there's one that bounces to a ball that bounces either off his glove, he blocks it in front of his body. Olivo just seems to be off like a shot after that ball.
2. Bale dropping down with that breaking ball. Morneau has not enjoyed facing John Bale. Just 1 for 8. Drilled to deep right. How big is that double play now? So it's a 2-run game as Morneau pounds his 18th of the year.
You know, Ryan, sometimes it's all about repeating pitches. You know, the first sweeping curveball to Morneau, he got to the outer half. The second one, he hung right up over the middle of the plate.
He's kind of got that Fred McGriff kind of swordsman follow through, doesn't he?
Well, he finished high after that swing. That was a hanging breaking ball and a hanging curveball, and he saw it. It was up in his eyes, and he didn't miss it.
Kubel will probably be the last man that John Bale sees. A walk and 2 groundouts tonight. A little low, ball 1. Could be a 4-out night for Joakim Soria if Bale doesn't get Kubel. 2-0. Kubel has faced Bale 5 times, 1 for 3 with a couple of walks. Got that call. Kubel doesn't like it. Kubel not happy with the home plate umpire tonight. Back in the 6th inning, thought he had fouled one off of his foot. And on the play, his manager was ejected. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hit hard to left. De Jesus there, and that's the inning. Thanks to the double play, it's only a 2-run 8th inning for Minnesota. To make it a 2-run game. Royals in the bottom of the 8th will face left-hander Jose Majares, who had a great run for the Twins late last year after spending most of the year in the minor leagues recovering from a broken arm. pitched in the 1-game playoff with the White Sox. White Sox winning the division. The Royals forcing that playoff after taking 2 out of 3 from the Twins to end the regular season. It'll be DeJesus, Bloomquist, and Butler. A good night for David, but could have been a great night. He's 2 for 4, but his 2 outs. Line outs to the outfield. One's to Span in center, the other on a sliding catch in left by Young. One ball, one strike. Royals got a run in the second inning, an unearned run because of a throwing error by Michael Kadire in right. Back-to-back home runs in the 6th from Callaspo and Olivo. And then Olivo with a triple, scoring a run in the 7th. And if the Royals can get 7 to the plate in this inning, Olivo has a chance for hitting for the cycle.
He's got the 2 toughest ones out of the way, the triple and the home run.
The Twins have hit for the cycle twice this year. Jason Kubel did it in April, and you talk about drama. The final hit to complete the cycle, a grand slam in the 8th inning.
Oh my goodness.
And then a little less than a month later, Michael Kadire hit for the cycle. Kubel's against the Angels, Kadire against the Brewers. DeJesus down on strikes, 1 away in the bottom of the 8th.
I think Kadire's with a triple. The last one he needed was
Sounds right, yeah. So much for going up there just needing a single. Nice crowd tonight of Royals and Twins fans. Minnesota fans coming south on I-35 to enjoy some outdoor baseball. They'll have their own outdoor ballpark next year. They're still welcome to come to Kauffman Stadium, but they might not feel the need.
You might just want to go there in June, July, and August. Maybe late June.
Yeah, April and mid to late September, and if the Twins get into the playoffs, whoa. I told you this before, Frank. As you know, I went to the world-renowned academic and athletic institution, the University of Minnesota. In my junior year, the Twins won the World Series in '91. 3 days after the World Series was over, we got 3 feet, not inches, 3 feet of snow.
Wow. I can only imagine what this looks like.
Well, one thing I can tell you, what I couldn't find out what that looked like was in the classroom, because there was no class. Of course, it always happens on a Friday, never happens on a Wednesday. By the time Monday rolled around, all the snow was gone. 1-on-1 out, Bloomquist on for the 2nd time tonight, and now Billy Butler. You know, another thing that comes to mind, too, with the new outdoor ballpark, the Twins forever have had a great home field advantage in the Dome with the artificial surface. I mean, they have tailored their teams over the years around that ballpark. Not next year. There will be no Teflon roof. There will be no artificial surface.
They'd probably be seeing some new outdoor wear for the cold weather that they haven't seen in a long time. I think when they go to Cleveland and places like that, when it gets real cold, they just go to the equipment manager and say, "Can I borrow?"
Span was almost already on the track. Bloomquist is going to take advantage of that and move up to second base. Normally on a play like that, a center fielder would have to race back to that position, but Span was already there. So Butler is down. He's 2 for 5. And Jacobs coming up with Bloomquist in scoring position.
Yeah, Billy's approach has stayed pretty good too, Ryan. He's really stayed true to what he's trying to do, and that's driving the ball to center field, right center field. And like you say, Span was already back there, so that play made it easy. And Bloomquist, being the heads-up player that he is, went back to first base and tagged and took advantage of the depth in center field that Span had been driven to.
Jacobs 0 for 3 with a walk tonight.
You know, Mike is such an energetic guy, and he's always a positive guy. It'd be really nice to see him drive a ball right here. Yeah, he's really overdue.
Chews on the end of his batting gloves in between pitches, especially his bottom hand. Had fans ask about that. What's Jacobs doing in between pitches? Well, half of his batting glove is leather on the top and the bottom. The sides are nylon, and so that batting glove will twist on his finger, and so to straighten him back out in between pitches, he'll bite the end of it. So he is not eating his glove. It's not a nervous tick.
He's got a bite around that big chaw of tobacco that he's got in his mouth.
It's one of the better ones in the league, that's for sure.
I think so too.
Challenge him with a fastball. It's 1-2. Harris has struck out to Jesus, walked Bloomquist, and gotten Butler on a fly out to deep center. In the ninth, it'll be Kadire, Busher, and Young for the Twins. Left center field. And Delman Young is there, and that's the inning. To the ninth, Soria on for the save. Coming up on Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Nate. Royals trying to get back to the 500 mark at home. Royals tacking on runs in the 6th and 7th innings with Miguel Olivo and Alberto Callaspo driving in runs, and Luke Hochevar with 7 shutout innings. John Bale gave up 2 in the 8th. Justin Morneau with a 2-run home run, but the Royals turned a huge double play in that inning with Joe Mauer at the plate with 2 on, nobody out. And now Soria to face Kadire, Busher, and Young. 1-1 on Kadire, doubled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Joaquin with his 9th save yesterday, 1-2-3 against the Pirates. 1-2. Michael Kadire against Joakim Soria. 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. Doing everything he could. That's about as good a reach as you're going to see all season.
Well, that's when you go up and come all the way down, and then you finally hit the ball right at ground level.
Kadire 0 for 6, 4 strikeouts against Soria. That's the second day in a row, Frank, that Soria has struck out a right-hand batter with a changeup.
Well, and the changeup is really reacting good, Ryan. It's not that it's staying up high to be hit. You watch this changeup here, high just goes straight down, and I think that's what makes it good for right-handed hitters. Where it gets in trouble if you leave it up and it slides across into the bat, then the hitters have a better chance to hit that ball.
A little high to Brian Busher, 0 for 2 with a walk. Busher has faced Soria once and singled against him. Got that call, and both pitchers have been getting that low strike tonight, 1-1. Soria with a win and a save when the Royals took 2 out of 3 from the Twins in May. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Slow curve, didn't get a piece, and doesn't even try to go down to first base. Well, you at least have to make a move for first, don't you?
Well, this is one of those pitches you think you should hit, and all of a sudden the ball just really disappears on you. And a lot of time when guys get a little embarrassed on a swing, then you only add insult to injury when you try to go to first base.
Hey, there's our buddy Chris, who made it back safely. He was on the Royals' last road trip on his own, driving from here to Houston, Houston to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh back home.
And one thing about Chris, Ryan, is all the miles that he's traveled, he just doesn't look tired. He looks the same, all energetic, ready to go all the time.
56 hours in the car. It's 2-0 on Delman Young. 1 out of 3 tonight. Singled in the 7th inning. He is 1 for 4 against Soria. Two and 1. Chris cheering him home. 2-2. Soria got the Pirates 1-2-3 yesterday. Trying to do the same in back-to-back games. This is only the 2nd time since coming back from the disabled list that he's pitched in back-to-back games. Last year he was far and away the leader in the major leagues with 36 1-2-3 innings. Fastball blew him away, and the Royals take game 1 from the Twins 4-2. So the Royals snap a 5-game home losing streak, and they've won 3 out of 4 against Minnesota this year. As Soria strikes out the side, getting Kadire, Busher, and Young.